How does a nation go from, a collection of scattered desert tribes to a global superpower in less than 100 years? It's a wild story. Today we're going to unpack the incredible rise of Saudi Arabia, a story of faith, of power, and of course, the one resource that changed absolutely everything.
And really, that's the core question we're tackling. Now, the answer, it's not simple. Not at all. It's a story that involves a powerful alliance, a couple of near-total collapses, and, you guessed it, a single discovery under the sand that didn't just forge a new kingdom, it completely reshaped the 20th century.
Okay, so to really get a handle on where Saudi Arabia is heading, you've got to look back, way back. We're talking about its ancient roots. Long before oil was even a thought, the Arabian Peninsula was this vital crossroads of trade and, more than anything else, a powerful center of faith.
And what's just incredible is the timescale we're talking about here. For more than 1,000 years after the rise of Islam, this land was the absolute heart of the faith, home to Mecca and Medina. But here's the key thing. Politically, it was never its own unified state. It was always a part of something bigger, a province, a territory controlled by these huge empires like the Abbasid Caliphate and, later on, the Ottomans.
But then, in the 18th century, that all started to change. This is really where the seed of the modern state we know today was planted. And it was born from this incredibly powerful and strategic alliance, one whose legacy, honestly, echoes to this very day. It really all came down to this one pact, made way back in 1744. On one side, you've got Muhammad ibn Saud. He's a local ruler with military might. He's the sword. And on the other side, you have the religious reformer, Muhammad ibn Abd al-Wahhab, who brings this powerful unifying vision. That's the creed. This combination, this alliance of politics and faith, well, that became the engine for the very first Saudi state.
But, and this is a big but, creating a kingdom, it was no way a straight line to success. Not even close. It was this brutal, century-and-a-half-long struggle. The best way to think of it is like 3 separate attempts. A cycle of creation, then collapse, and then, finally, a triumphant return. So what went wrong with those first 2 tries? Well, the first state was basically crushed by the sheer might of the Ottoman Empire. And both of these early attempts were totally plagued by internal family feuds. Always a problem, right? It was that third attempt, led by the incredibly shrewd and charismatic Abdulaziz ibn Saud, that finally stuck. He managed to unite the tribes and fend off all those external threats.
And so, after decades and decades of struggle and putting all the pieces together, that third state triumphed. In 1932, Ibn Saud officially declared the unified kingdom of Saudi Arabia, with himself as its very first king. A brand new nation had finally, officially, arrived on the world map.
Now, just as this brand new kingdom was finding its footing, something happened. A discovery was made that would fundamentally rewrite its destiny and launch it right into the very heart of global affairs. The year is 1938. Just think about that. The new kingdom is only 6 years old. It's poor, it's pretty isolated. But in this one year, a discovery was made that would change its fate. And honestly, the world's fate. Forever. Black gold. Oil. All of a sudden, the kingdom's most valuable asset wasn't its history or its faith. It was what lay buried deep beneath the sand. This discovery just unlocked a level of wealth and potential that was, frankly, completely unimaginable before.
And the company that would eventually become Aramco, well, that was the catalyst. The development of these massive oil fields generated this immense, staggering wealth from exports. And that money, it transformed Saudi Arabia from a relatively poor, isolated nation into an absolute economic powerhouse with incredible global influence.
And of course, that new economic power quickly translated into political power, right? Throughout the Cold War, Saudi Arabia became a crucial U.S. ally against the Soviet Union. Its influence was just undeniable. From wielding the so-called oil weapon in the 1973 crisis, all the way to becoming a key strategic partner in the 1991 Gulf War. The kingdom was no longer on the sidelines. It was a serious player on the world stage.
All right, so that brings us pretty much up to the 21st century. The kingdom, which was built on this foundation of faith, family, and oil, is now attempting what might just be its most ambitious transformation yet.
The groundwork for this new era was really laid by King Abdullah. He was the one who focused on modernizing the country, pouring massive investments into things like education and infrastructure. He started to slowly, carefully open the doors to social reform, really setting the stage for the dramatic changes that were about to come.
And at the absolute heart of this acceleration is something called Vision 2030. Now, this isn't just some dusty policy paper. No way. It's a massive, countrywide blueprint for the future, and it's being spearheaded by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The core goal? It's simple but huge. Prepare Saudi Arabia for a world after oil.
And you can see this vision taking shape in some truly audacious ways. I mean, we're talking about futuristic megacities like Neom, literally rising from the desert, major social reforms that are changing daily life, huge investments in new sectors like tourism, entertainment, and tech, and a foreign policy that's way more independent and assertive than ever before. Make no mistake, it is a high-stakes gamble to fundamentally remake the entire economy.
And that really brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? An alliance of sword and creed built the kingdom, oil made it a global superpower, and now its leaders are betting hundreds of billions of dollars on a third-grade transformation, a future that goes beyond oil. So the only question left is, can they actually pull it off?